President Trump welcomed South Korean President Moon Jae-In to the White House Tuesday ahead of next month's planned summit with North Korea. But speaking from the Oval Office, the president wavered about whether his meeting with Kim Jong Un would go on as scheduled. Major Garrett reports.
Moving along, and we'll see what happens. There are certain conditions that we want, and I think we'll get those conditions. And if we don't have the meeting.
Trump administration officials today hinted the summit of the ages now appears shaky.
I'm not a betting man, so I wouldn't care to predict whether it will happen.
Well, as the president often says, Martha, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. We continue to prepare for the summit, and if they want to meet, we will certainly be ready.
If it doesn't happen, maybe it'll happen later. Maybe it'll happen at a different time. But we will see.
South Korean President Moon Jae-In remains optimistic and flew to Washington for face-to-face preparations. Moon's national security advisor placed the likelihood of the mid-June summit in Singapore at 99.9%, far short of President Trump's current assessment.
I don't want to waste a lot of time, and I'm sure he doesn't want to waste a lot of time. So there's a very substantial chance that it won't work out, and that's okay.
The summit appeared on track until last week when North Korea pulled out of talks with the South and lashed out at the West. The president today made another overture to dictator Kim Jong Un, promising he would not seek regime change if a deal to dismantle North Korea's nuclear weapons was reached.
I will guarantee his safety, yes. We will guarantee his safety. And we've talked about that from the beginning. He will be safe. He will be happy. His country will be rich.
Mr. Trump also said his goal was immediate denuclearization, not a prolonged process.
All in one would be nice, I can tell you. I'm not going to go beyond that. It would certainly be better if it were all in one. Does it have to be? I don't think I want to totally commit myself, but all in one would be a lot better.
Major Garrett joins me now from the White House. So, Major, what are the factors that will decide whether this summit takes place as planned?
Well, the North Koreans, are they going to cooperate? Are they going to be there? What's the agenda? What's the agreed upon framework for these conversations? And what's the likelihood that that framework will produce genuine results? The North Korean aspect of it is crucial, obviously. But there's another aspect, Elaine, that I think bears some attention being paid to, and that is the ability of this White House and the administration, meaning State Department, National Security Council, Defense Department, CIA, and other stakeholders to prepare themselves and prepare the president for a summit. And that means laying down the groundwork with North Koreans over these very involved, technical, and historically difficult to resolve, even under the best conditions, issues related to denuclearization. You have to have resolution of how you define that. What are the sites? How would it happen? What are you willing to discuss? What's the timetable? Who would inspect? Who would verify? All of these things, and I've just touched the surface, have to be at least prepared at some level of mutual understanding for there to be productive talks. And one of the things that's become clear here at the White House in the last couple of days is that there is a sense that whatever the North Koreans do or don't do, this administration has got to play catch up in a very serious way, getting themselves and the president prepared for conversations of that specificity. So there is a realization, and the president gave voice to it today. This might be better to be done at a later time. That would be okay. So this sense that the date is less important than the actual outcome is beginning to take over the mindset about this summit. I'm not saying it won't happen, but in ways that they simply were not discussing the probability of it not happening a week ago, top administration officials are giving voice to that now.
Well, President Trump implied that Kim Jong Un may have been influenced to back out of the meeting after discussions with the Chinese president. What is known, Major, about Xi Jinping's influence on the North Korean leader?
Well, what is known is it is substantial. Economically, diplomatically, culturally, historically. All of those things matter. Is North Korea a client state of China? No. Do the North Koreans have differences with China? Yes. Do they not want to appear to be a puppet of Beijing? Of course. But the connectedness is very real, and the economic dependency North Korea has on China self-evident. What we don't know is, was in fact what the president inferred today, well, China said something and North Korea changed its behavior. Was it as direct as that? It might have been North Korea playing its rather typical playbook, conceding something, pulling back, and trying to negotiate a different outcome. That has certainly been the case with previous administrations dating back to the Clinton administration. It happened to the Bush administration. It happened to the Obama administration. So it might have just been the North Korean playbook without any real direct influence from China at all. So why might the president bring it up? Because the president wants China to continue to apply maximum pressure on North Korea, and this administration is pursuing another very huge issue with the Chinese: future trade relations, tariffs, and the like. So the president, as he said today in the Oval Office, sees a big picture here. Security questions with North Korea are part of that, but also trade and other security matters with the Chinese. So the president may have just thrown what he perceives, or maybe is hinting Xi Jinping did, not because he knows or it's certain, but just to tell the Chinese, hey, there are issues here, pay attention to them because we've got lots to discuss and I need your cooperation.
Meanwhile, Major, Moon Jae-In commended President Trump Tuesday for pushing North Korea toward denuclearization. What is at stake for South Korea?
Well, so much is at stake for South Korea, and the South Korean leader did, as you said, Elaine, shower praise on the president, saying we are here at this historic opportunity, this potential for a breakthrough, in large measure, Moon Jae-in said, because of President Trump's approach. Maximum pressure, maybe some of the tough rhetoric, Rocket Man, Fire and Fury, the like from last summer. It is, at least in the words of the South Korean president, that factor that has brought us to the precipice of something that may be very positive. There is also a backstory to this. The South Koreans want to keep very close to this administration, don't want the president to do what he did last week, bring back some of that tough-sounding rhetoric. They want, the South Koreans that is, the conversation to be focused on some very significant issues for South Korea, resolving once and for all the end of the Korean War. It's an armistice now. They would like a formal declaration of peace. They want some conversation with North Korea about movement of people across the demilitarized zone, potentially free movement. Also, possibly in the long term, unification of the entire Korean peninsula. These are very specific and inter-Korea issues that the South Koreans want to resolve. Yes, they want to denuclearize Korean peninsula as well. But today it was significant that the South Korean president talked more frequently about those issues than the larger, broader U.S. strategic goal of having a verified and denuclearized North Korea. The South Korean president mentioned it. I don't want to suggest he didn't. But what he mentioned more frequently were these issues of peace, reunification, and movement of people and cultures on the Korean peninsula. That's where the South Korean government is. That's the priority it's placed on this blossoming or potentially blossoming new relationship with North Korea.
Many, many dynamics at play. Major Garrett at the White House for us. Major, thank you.
Sure.